Yeah, so this is the famous moment I was talking about where Ben Shapiro's name comes up as a heir to the throne. And that is when Candice allegedly is talking about burning it all down if he gets control of TPUSA.
It was probably like 5 or 6 days after. And I remember I had flown to DC. We had JD Vance hosted Charlie's show on that Monday after. So Charlie was killed on a Wednesday, and then JD hosted the show on the Monday. So I remember I flew back, landed in the airport, and I believe I was talking to Candace, and she said something that I've not publicly communicated yet, but basically it was that if the wrong people take over the organization, and she said this, I'll never forget it. She says, "I will burn down that organization. I swear to God."
And you mean Turning Point?
Turning Point. If the wrong people, and I just assumed because she was very obviously
there were
anti-Jewish.
rumors at this time, like it was
this is
chatter
5
online.
days, 6 days after, whatever it was. She said, "I'm going to burn down that organization. I swear to God." And I just thought she meant if the Jews take over or something
Ben
like
Shapiro.
this.
Let's just say the name.
Ben
People were
Shapiro,
throwing
yeah.
out because Ben Shapiro had appeared on the show.
And
Some people ran with like, Ben Shapiro has now taken over Turning
Well, he
Point
hadn't
USA.
appeared. I don't know if he had appeared on that. I think he was actually going to show up the next day on the Tuesday.
Yeah, Blake, you have no idea what you're talking about. Actually, if you go back and watch my show, I said early on, and now I have a different opinion. I said, I think people that all think that Ben Shapiro, because he said pick up the bloody mic, wants to take over Turning Point USA, I said, I think that that's just wrong. I'm on record saying that. So you can't just make stuff up, Blake, and pretend that I was taking the bait about Ben Shapiro. What I was actually taking the bait on was the conversations that I was having with Andrew Kolvet on the phone. I was speaking to Andrew Kolvet on the phone every single day, and it was Andrew Kolvet who was telling me, and we were speaking about a potential foreign angle in Charlie's assassination, okay? I can show you text messages to that effect. I can actually show you this call log if you can pull it up. He's talking about literally on August 14th, after he and I had been speaking. It was just, you have the exact date, Andrew, in case you want to make a timeline. September 14th, 2025 was when you and I spoke for 17 minutes. On the 13th, on the 12th, you were the one that was telling me about the Bill Ackman summit. You were the one that was telling me about Bibi Netanyahu's letter, and telling me that Mikey McCoy had this letter on Charlie's laptop. And you told me basically that Charlie in this letter said that he was kind of pulling away from the Israel cause. We talked about that extensively. You were the one that told me about the text messages. Notice I'm saying plural text messages to Dan Flood and to yourself the night before, that Charlie thought that he was going to be killed. And you never, ever, ever once said, and when I spoke to other people who confirmed this, that it was the left. In fact, I specifically asked you, who is they? And you said, I don't know. You were the one who told me about that chat, that Charlie saying, I'm abandoning the pro-Israel cause. So don't make it seem like it's weird that I was thinking about Israel in those days. And then Bibi Netanyahu goes on and says, I didn't kill him, as you are feeding me this information that I would not have had otherwise about how Charlie declined to have Bibi Netanyahu on his show. And he was growing increasingly more agitated with Israeli involvement and willing to walk away from this. And I can even show a text message that I sent to you. And then we talked on the phone because you're a PR agent. So whenever I would text, you would call. Smart way to do this. But where I even said to you, after Bibi went on and held up the letter, I messaged you because you were the one that told me about the letter and said this. This was our conversation. I can't sleep, just destroyed, September 11th. This is also September 11th, but you were on a plane, so it was coming in weird. You wrote same, in and out of sleep, and I'm up again. I said, who did this? This was a government hit. We need answers. And then you can see on September 11th, you and I had a conversation, and I said, Bibi's lying about the contents of a letter that Charlie wrote him. He's making it seem like it was just him writing a love letter about how much he loves Israel. I know that's not true, and it's making me sick. I knew it wasn't true because Andrew Kolvet was the one who told me about the letter. So it's just incredible. Like, he is reintroducing this as if Candace was like, she's going to burn. Like, I was basically saying that if this is true and there is foreign involvement, like, we will burn this place to the ground. If they're staging this to try to take over his company, meaning we, because I'm talking to you and this is Charlie's organization and we don't know who killed him yet. We don't know what the motive was. And he was totally supportive and giving me more information. And now he's pretending like, oh, I don't know why she said that. I don't know why. I was so scared. And actually,
Wow. That text message that I just read there, guys, the text message is damning. If you ask me, it's very damning. Because the same guy that is acting like, oh yeah, we know for sure that it's Tyler Robinson that did it, seemed to be also having similar questions and a similar stance to Candace. So I guess the question is, what changed for Andrew Kolvet? What changed?
Actually, what he said to me on the 14th was, no, on that front, we're good. We don't have to worry about that because the board has already voted and Erica, don't say this yet, we're not announcing it publicly, but Erica is taking over the company. And what I said to him was, thank God. So he left that out. He left out the context that actually Candace became a bull. And as I was telling her information about how Charlie was pulling away from Israel as a possible motive for what happened, as we had no answers. I mean, this is 4 days after Charlie's assassination. We didn't know anything. We didn't know if there were foreign ties. We knew nothing. And he is giving me this Israeli narrative. Now he's like, oh, I think she just thought it was the Jews. I don't know why. Well, you do know why, Andrew, that I thought Israel was involved in this and why I still believe that there is an Israeli angle. And to try to wrench yourself out of that as the person who was my number one source on all of this information is complete lunacy. And I think I have a message where I even said, give Erica my number. Was that on there where I was like, give Erica my new number? Like 14th, after we're talking about this, I'm angry now. I'm at a stage of real anger. Also, please send Erica my new number. She only has my old one. Your whole narrative that you're trying to sell now, as if, I was very happy that Erica was taking over the organization. And when I was fearful that there could have been some sort of outside foreign involvement and motive with Israel, who wanted his organization for reasons that were not yet clear, but we all knew Bibi's behavior was very strange afterward, and you agreed with that. So try to tell the truth, Andrew. Try to put things in their proper context. Tell the truth about France and what was going on and why Charlie agreed to it. Tell the truth about why Israel was on my mind, what you said about Bill Ackman staging an intervention, what you said about Charlie declining to have Bibi on his show, which you also admitted that you even expressed that concern to Joe Kent, which you now make it seem like he's an enemy, but you were the one who put the Israel narrative in everyone's mind.
Wow. So actually, after watching this here, I have even more questions now for the TPUSA camp. I have even more questions now for Andrew Wilson. So it looks like this post-debate interview that he's done, Candace has been able to even poke more holes. She's showing her receipts, text messages, proving that actually Andrew Kolvet actually was even the one who started floating the Israel idea first, 4 days after the event took place. And so I think that's a good place to leave it for tonight. Just something to think about over the night, right? It's like, I have to say, after watching all of this, I don't think my overall position has changed dramatically at all. Candace clearly believes Andrew Wilson lost that debate. I also believe at this point that Andrew Wilson definitely was not able to defend the holes. And it looks like now he's gone on a post-debate interview, and the people that he's talking with that are trying to tear Candace's arguments down, they are even the ones that started said arguments. So now I'm left even more bamboozled.